Welcome back to this course. So this is our next section in which we are going to discuss about Node.js. Okay. So in this video, we will discuss that what is Node.js and why we need it and where it is used. Okay. So first of all, let's see what is Node.js. According to definition, Node.js is a platform built on Google Chrome's JavaScript engine, which is V8 engine, for easily building fast and scalable network applications. Okay. Node.js uses an event-driven non-blocking I/O model that make it lightweight and efficient, perfect for real-time applications. So first of all, moving toward the definition, now we know that before Node.js, we are running our JavaScript in the browser, or you can say that on the client side, okay? So after the development of Node.js, we are able to run JavaScript on the backend of a website, okay? So definitely we need some platform, we need something that would run that JavaScript on the backend. So here Google Chrome's V8 engine comes in. V8 engine provides an environment to JavaScript to run it on the backend. And in the second paragraph, you can see that Node.js uses an event-driven non-blocking I/O model. Now don't get confused with this. We are going to discuss about this non-blocking I/O model and event-driven in our next section when we will discuss about Node.js in detail or Node.js behind the scenes. Okay. By the way, I will give you an overview that non-blocking I/O model means that whenever our application is running and there is a process that is running and takes about 5 minutes. So Node.js does not stop there and wait for that processing. It moves that process to the background and continue his next work. Okay. So when that process is completed, a callback function is called and tell us that your processing is completed. So this is non-blocking I/O model. Again, don't get confused with that right now. We are going to discuss about it in detail in our next sections. Okay. And Node.js is lightweight and very efficient and perfect for real-time applications because Node.js uses the single-threaded architecture. Our complete application runs in a single thread. You can understand it like whenever we run our application in PHP. Okay. So for each process, a separate thread is created for that process, okay? But in Node.js, everything runs in a single thread. And we are also going to discuss about these threads and the behind the scenes of Node.js in our next section, okay? So this is what we call the Node.js. In simple words, Node.js help us to run JavaScript on the backend side, okay? Or on the server side. Next, we have some features of Node.js. First of all, asynchronous and event-driven. Now we are also going to discuss about this asynchronous and event-driven in our next section when we will discuss about behind the scenes of Node.js. So don't get confused with it right now, okay? And next is very fast, being built on Chrome's V8 JS engine. Node.js is really fast because it is built on Chrome's V8 JavaScript engine. Next, it is a single-threaded application. As I have discussed in the previous slide that Node.js is a single-threaded, all the process runs in a single thread. Next, it is highly scalable because it is really fast and it is highly scalable. We use the Node.js to build our web servers that we're going to do in this course. Okay. Next, perfect for building real-time applications. Node.js is the best environment that helps us to create real-time applications like a chatting application in which two persons chat with each other at real time. So Node.js is really helpful in that type of application because Node.js runs in a single thread. Okay. So next, it is also helpful in manipulating files on a file system because we have some core modules of file system in Node.js. Okay. So these are some features of Node.js. And again, don't get confused with any of these features. We are going to discuss about them in detail in our next section. This is just a quick overview of Node.js features. Okay. Next, why we need to learn Node.js. The first reason is that big companies are using Node.js. Some of them are LinkedIn, Netflix, Walmart, Uber, PayPal, eBay, and even Yahoo. So many companies are shifting to Node.js technology. The reason is that it is highly fast and scalable technology that makes their applications or websites more quick and fast. Okay. And the second reason, you can say that the large community which is growing day by day because Node.js is really becoming popular day by day. The average salary of Node.js developer is really high than other technologies. And the other reason is that some developers that are new to development, web development, they are using JavaScript on the front side and they have to learn a different languages like Java or Ruby or Python to do backend of a website. Now they can do front end and back end both in JavaScript. So they don't need to learn another language to do backend of a website. So this is really helpful for those type of users. Okay. So these are the major reasons that why we need to learn Node.js. Okay. And next, where to use Node.js. Okay. First of all, IO bound applications, input output bound applications. Next, data streaming applications like Netflix. Third, real-time applications like chatting applications. I have given the example before. Next is JSON APIs based application. Now Node.js is one of the best technology to build APIs. Okay, as I have discussed in our first slide when we are discussing about the dynamic websites, I have told you there that Node.js is the best technology to build APIs. Okay, JSON based APIs means we get our data in form of JSON, and it is a really helpful technology to build APIs. Okay, and next is single page applications like portfolio or company website. So in these cases, Node.js is really helpful technology to use. Okay, and next is where not to use the Node.js. Okay, so it is not advisable to use Node.js for CPU intensive applications. The reason is that Node.js is a single threaded application. Okay, so CPU intensive application means that the applications that use a lot of CPU and a lot of processing, so this take a lot of time. So that's why it is not advisable to use Node.js for these type of applications. Okay, so in this case we don't use the Node.js technology. I hope that you understand. So this is very quick and very fast overview of Node.js, and we are going to discuss about in detail and behind the scenes of the Node.js in our next section. Okay, so I hope that you understand. So that's it for this video. If you feel any problem in understanding anything about Node.js, you can definitely ask me a question or message me. I am always here to help you. I will see you in the next video. Welcome back. So in our previous video, we have discussed what is Node.js and why we need to learn Node.js. So in this video, we are going to set up our Node.js and set up our environment so that we can run our further applications. Okay. So first of all, this is the official website of Node.js. You can see that nodejs.org. And from here we have to download the setup of Node.js. Okay, so you can download the setup of Node.js according to your system. I am using the Windows, so you can simply click on this button and download this Node.js application. Okay, setup. So once you download it, simply install that, and once you install it, the first thing you need to do is to set up the environment variables. So for that, simply go to the search and type here environment, and you can see that edit system environment variables. Click on that, and from here simply click on environment variables, and then click from here to the path, then simply click on edit. Okay, so here you have to click on new and add the path of your Node.js. You can see that I have already added Node.js path here, C, program files, and Node.js. So if I go to my C drive from here, and in here if I click on this program files, then here I click on Node.js, and you can see that our nodejs.exe file is present here. So I simply just copy this path and add it to the environment variable, and simply click on OK, OK, and OK. So in this way we have set up our Node.js environment variable. Okay, and after that you have to use a text editor. For this course, I'm going to use the Visual Studio Code, which is one of the best text editor right now in the market. Okay, so simply download it for your operating system. I am using Windows, so I simply download it and install it on my laptop. I have already downloaded it and installed it on my laptop. It is very simple and easy to install. After installing the Visual Studio Code, you have to also download the Git bash. Okay, because when we deploy our Node.js application on the internet, we need Git. So that's why it is recommended that you install the Git bash at the start of this course. Okay, if you don't want to install Git bash at this point, definitely you can use the default terminal of Windows that is already embedded inside the Visual Studio Code. Okay, so after downloading and installing the Git bash, Node.js, and Visual Studio Code, simply open Visual Studio Code, and the very first thing you need to do here is to set your terminal. Okay, simply go to File, and then Preferences, and then Settings, and simply type here terminal, and click on this terminal from here like this, and you can see that terminal external window exe. So simply give this path, that is C, program files, Git, bin and bash.exe. Okay, so in this way you will set your terminal to from default to git bash. Simply close it and go to terminal, new terminal, and boom, your git bash terminal is now ready to use. Okay, and now to check whether your node is working or not, simply type here one thing, that is node and -v. Okay, so you can see that version 10.16.3 is the version of the node that I am using on this laptop. Okay, so this means that your Node.js is set up and is ready to use. Okay, so if I type here node, and I can use anything here, like I type here 1 + 2 and press enter, you can see I get 3 answer from here, which is JavaScript. So I hope that you understand what we have done in this video. If you feel any problem in understanding anything while setting up your environment, definitely you can ask me a question or message me. I am always here to help you. So that's it for this video. I will see you in the next video. Welcome back to this course. So today in this video, we are going to run Node.js for very first time on the console. Okay, without browser, we are going to run the JavaScript. So for that, simply I create a new file here, and I just type here index.js. Okay, so now this is a file of JavaScript, and I simply type here some vanilla JavaScript lines. For example, I type here let language equals to JavaScript. Okay, and after that I simply console.log here language. Okay, so I have simply typed 2 lines here. I simply created a variable with the name language and stored JavaScript in it, and I simply control.log that variable. Okay, so simply I go to terminal, new terminal, and now to run the Node.js application, first of all you have to follow a syntax like a node and then the name of the file. Okay, and then you have to press the enter. Okay, so let's do it. I simply type here node and the name of the file is index.js. Okay, so now make sure that you are in the same directory where your file is. For example, this index.js file is present inside this lecture files folder. Okay, so you can see that path, lecture files, and then in the same folder I am running this node application. Okay, so when I press enter, you can see that I get JavaScript on my console. So this is our first application that we have run with the node command. Okay, you can type anything here. For example, if I simply remove this from here and I start a for loop here, I just type here for let I equals to 0 and I less than 10 and then I plus plus, and I simply console.log here I. Okay, I save it and just type here node index.js and press enter. You can see that I got 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 on the console. So now we are running our Node.js application on our terminal without using the Chrome. Okay, so this is the biggest benefit of Node.js, that we don't have to write JavaScript inside the browser. We are writing and running the JavaScript outside the browser. Okay, so I hope that you understand. So this is a very short and quick video in which I want to tell you that how we run our Node.js application. Okay, so in our next video we are going to using the first Node.js core module and going to build our first web server. Okay, very simple web server. So I will see you in the next video. Hello and welcome back to this course. In our previous video, you have seen that how we run our Node.js application. Okay, so in this video we are going to use our first Node core module, which is called HTTP, and we are going to build our first very simple web server. Okay, so without wasting any more time, let's start doing it. First of all, I'm going to create a new file here with the name app.js. Okay, so first of all, I have to use the core module, which is the HTTP. So for that, I first of all require or import that module in my file. Okay, so I simply type here const HTTP, and I want to simply require the HTTP module like this. Okay, so I have created a variable HTTP in which I am storing this HTTP module. I'm just requiring this module in my application, okay, because we have to use this HTTP module to build our first web server. Okay, so after that I simply want to create a server, so I simply type here HTTP dot create server. Okay, and after that in this function I have to pass a callback. Okay, so I simply type here request and response, and I use the arrow function here like this. Okay, so first of all I have used this HTTP which I have just required in my application before that, and then I have used this create server method to create a server. Okay, then I simply pass a callback here to check it. Okay, and in this callback I have two parameters. Remember in our first lectures when we discuss about that how a complete website works, we request a web page from a server and server give us a response. Okay, so this is that request and response. Okay, and now in this function we just have to send something to the browser. Okay, so I simply, because I have to send the response, so I use the response res dot end, and in here simply I type anything. I simply type here your first simple web server. Okay, so after that I have created the server here successfully, and now I have to run it in the Chrome browser. So what I do, I simply save first of all this in a variable. I type here const server. Okay, and after that I simply type here server, because we have to listen that request, so I simply type here server dot listen, and in here first of all I have to type the port number. You can type any port number in here like 3000, 4000, 5000, 6000 or 8000, anything you want. So for now I simply type here 4000. Okay, you can type any number here. We have to listen on this port. Okay, and after that simply I give a callback here, and I type a statement here console.log, and I print a line here that is server started at port 4000. Okay, so that's it. This is our first very simple web server. Before explaining this anymore, let's run it and see what happens. Simply I save this file and type here node app.js and press enter, and you can see a message on the console that server started at port 4000. Okay, so now go to your Chrome browser and simply type here. Now by default this server runs on a local host. Local host means the machine on which this application is running. Right now this is running on the local machine, so that's why by default it runs on the local host. So you can either type 127.0.0.1 IP address, which is the IP address for localhost, or you can simply type here localhost 4000. Okay, just type this line here, that's localhost colon and then 4000 port number on which we are listening to this application. Okay, simply press enter, and you see a message here, your first simple web server. Congratulations, your first Node.js application is running on the web server. And before explaining it, I just want to show that you can also pass HTML here. For example, if I type here h1, wrap this line with h1 tag, and also I type here h1 and save it. And to exit from this process, you have to press Ctrl C and then again type here node app.js and press enter. Server started at port 4000. Okay, and now if you refresh it, you will see your first simple web server in h1 tag. Okay, so you can also pass HTML in this string. Okay, so now just concluding this video, I explain it once again. First of all, we are using the core module HTTP to make our first web server. Okay, and just require this HTTP module and store in this HTTP variable. And after that, I have just created the server. Simply I type here HTTP, which is this one, dot create server, and pass a callback here that has two parameters, request and response. Okay, and in this callback I simply use this end method to send a response, which is your first simple web server. Okay, and I have stored all this in a server variable, and after that we have to listen on to that server. Okay, so I simply type here server and I listen on this port number 4000. You can type any port here. Okay, after that I pass a callback here, arrow function, and I simply printed a line that server started at port 4000. Okay, and after that you run this application, you get your result in the Chrome browser as a simple web server. So I hope that you understand what we have done in this video. By the way, if you feel any problem in understanding anything in Node.js, you can definitely ask me a question or message me. I am always here to help you. So that's it for this video. I will see you in the next video. Welcome back to this course. Today in this video we are going to discuss about NPM. NPM stands for Node Package Manager. Okay, so in our next videos, in our future videos, we are going to use packages in our Node applications. Packages, you can say that a sort of tiny libraries that we are going to use in our applications to enhance the functionality of our applications. I will give you an example for this. For example, I hope that you know about the WordPress. Okay, so in WordPress, for each and everything we have to install something called plugins. For example, if we want to monitor the traffic of a website, we install plugin like Jetpack, and if we want to do some SEO for WordPress site, we use plugin called Yoast SEO or all-in-one SEO pack. Okay, so these are plugins that help us to perform small functionalities in our website. In the same way, packages are tiny libraries that help us to enhance the functionality of our application. Now we know that expressjs is a framework, web framework for Node.js, and we will install Express framework with the help of this npm library. Okay, so this is repository for these packages, npm. Okay, so in our next video we are going to use two packages. One is NodeMon and second is Casual, just to show you that how we use packages in our Node.js application. Okay, so in this video I am just going to introduce you to npm. And one more thing that I want to tell you is something called npm init. Let's see how we can use the npm init. If I go to my Visual Studio Code, and now npm init generates a file that called package.json file. Okay, so package.json is some type of configuration file that holds some data of the application. Okay, so without wasting our time, let's simply type here npm init. Okay, when I press enter, you can see that it first of all asks me the package name. I simply type here first app, then it asks for the version 1.0.0 is the default version, so I want to keep it. I simply press enter. Description, I just type here my first application, press enter. Then it asks for the entry point. Okay, so for this is definitely app.js, so I simply type here enter. You can type anything here, for example index.js or app.js. The entry point of this application means from which point this application start. So app.js is the entry point of this file, so I simply type here app.js and press enter. Enter, enter. Keywords, you can type anything here like first app, enter. Author, you can type your name here, enter, enter, and now it will ask you that is this okay, and press enter, and you can see that package.json file is created successfully here. If I click on here, you can see that name is this, version this, description this, main app.js, and then keywords we have typed, then the author name, then the license. Okay, so this is the package.json file. This is very important file, and this file is going to tell which packages we want to use or not when we will deploy our application on the internet. Okay, so very first step, Before creating any application, first of all create this package.json file by just typing here npm init. Now npm command is automatically added when you install the node. You don't have to install npm separately, okay? npm is already added in your Visual Studio when you add node.js, okay? So this is what we call the npm, node package manager. This is just the introduction lecture. In the next lecture, we are actually going to use two packages in our application, okay? So I will see you in the next video. Welcome back to this course. So in our previous video, we have seen what is npm, and we have also set up our package.json file by using the npm init command, okay? So in this lecture, we are going to install two packages, npm packages in our application. So the first package that we are going to install is called nodemon. Now nodemon is the package that will be used throughout this course, or we use this nodemon package throughout the development process. Now what does this nodemon package do? We know that whenever we change something in this file app.js, we always have to type app node app.js and press enter. Then the server is started, then we go back and see our results. And then if we change something here, then we again have to type here node app.js, and then we get our new result. Now when we install nodemon, when I simply press here Ctrl S, then this command automatically runs, that is node app.js, and the server starts again, okay? So let me show you by installing it. First of all, if I go to this npmjs.com and type here nodemon and press enter, you can see the first package. I click on it, and here you can see its weekly download that is about 1.9 million downloads. That are huge downloads. So you can see from here that how popular this package is, okay? So you can read from here, nodemon is a tool that helps develop Node.js based application by automatically restarting Node.js application when file changes in the directory are detected, okay? So whenever we change something in our app.js file or main file, then nodemon package will automatically restart the Node.js application, okay? So to install this package on our application, we have to type a command that is node I stand for install, and then name of that package. So npm I nodemon, okay? So but we don't want to install it like this. We want to install it globally. npm init -g nodemon. So -g means globally. You can see that nodemon will be installed globally to your system path, okay? So we have to install this global so that we can use it anywhere whenever we create Node.js application, okay? So simply I go back to my Visual Studio, I type here npm I stand for install, then I simply type here nodemon, the name of the package, and I type here -g to install it globally. When I press enter, you can see that the package is now installing. Okay, so you can see that here our package is successfully installed in our application, okay? So to run that, I simply type here nodemon and press enter, and now you can see that started node app.js. So for example, if I change here like your very first simple web app server, now if I simply press Ctrl S, you can see that server started again. So this is where we use nodemon. It is really helpful. We don't have to type node app.js again and again. So this is the use of the nodemon package, okay? So now let's use our second package, which is casual, okay? So casual is a npm package that generates random data, okay? So if I go back and simply I type here casual and press enter, you can see this first package. I click on it, and you can see that it is a fake data generator, okay? So I simply install this in my application. So I press Ctrl C to get out from this nodemon and type here npm I and casual, and now I type here -save. Now what this -save do is it saves the name of this package, that is casual, to the package.json file, okay? And whenever we deploy this application, with help of that package.json file, we can tell that which package we need, Okay, so simply whenever you install your package, type -save to save the name of this package to the package.json file, which is the configuration file of your application. Okay, so npm -save and press enter. The installing has been started. So successfully installed, and you can see that a new folder generated here with the name node modules, and we have a casual package in it. Okay, so you got a question in your mind that why nodemon is not here, because we installed nodemon globally. Okay, and when you click on this package.json file, you can see that dependencies, and I got the name of casual here, and it's version 1.6.2. okay, so in this way, whenever we install our packages and we type -save, all the package names will be added automatically here. We don't have to type here. So whenever we deploy our application on internet, we don't deploy this node.js module folder because it is too much heavy. Okay, so this package.json file will tell that we have to use these packages. Okay, so whenever you install a package, simply type -save it. Now going back to our nodemon module, you may got a question that why we don't have nodemon here. Okay, and why we don't have a nodemon folder here, package here. So as I tell you before, that we have installed nodemon globally. Okay, so it is stored in the root folder of this npm. If you type here npm root-g and press enter, you can see the path here: C users, Ghulam Abbas, app data, roaming, npm, and node modules. If I copy it from here and simply just paste it here and press enter, you can see that we have nodemon here. All the files of nodemon are present here. That's why nodemon is not present in here. We have installed it globally, so it can be used from any application in this computer. Okay, so I hope that you understand. Now let's use this casual package in our application. Close this file, and now first of all we have to require this package. So I simply type here const and then type here casual equals to require, and I type here the name of the package, which is the casual. Okay, after requiring this package, I simply type here a line that will get random data from this package. If I go back to my node package manager the website, you can see that the usage tab here, and now in here you can see that first of all we have to import or require this casual package, and then we have to just use this casual, like casual.city will give us a random city, casual.sentence will generate a random sentence, like that. Okay, so if I go back to my Visual Studio and just type here casual.country, okay, save it and just type here node app.js, or simply I type here nodemon and press enter. Okay, so it started automatically. I go back to my Chrome and just type here localhost 4000 and press enter. You can see that, and you can see a country here with this Greece. Okay, if I go back or I simply refresh this once again, refresh, you can see a new city, Peru, and in this way you get random countries here. Now if I change it to city, press Ctrl S, go back and refresh it, you can see a new city here. Refresh it, a new city, refresh it, a new city. In this way, if I go back and type here sentence, okay, I press Ctrl S, go back and reload it, I get a random sentence here like this. Okay, so I hope that you understand that what is npm, what is a package, how we install it, and how we use it. Okay, anyhow, if you feel any problem in understanding anything about npm or node.js, you can definitely ask me a question and message me. I am always here to help you. So that's it for this video. I will see you in the next video. Welcome back to this course. So this is the first video of our next section in which we learn about behind the scenes of Node.js. Okay, so I am not going to bore you too much with the theory content, but it is important for you to learn this before we actually get into the coding part. Okay, so watch this complete section. Believe me, this will be really helpful for you. Okay, so today in this video we are going to discuss about Node.js dependencies. Okay, so Node.js also depend upon something. So let's see what those on which Node.js is depend upon. First of all, there are two most important dependencies of Node.js. The first one is Google Chrome's V8 engine. So we have already discussed about this V8 engine. Now the new thing about in this slide is that Google Chrome's V8 engine is actually built in C++. So you may expect that V8 engine is made in JavaScript, but this is wrong. Actually, this is built in C++. And the next dependency is the libuv, which is the C++ library that is definitely written in C++. Okay, so libuv library is one of the most important dependency of Node.js, and this is also written in C++. So what actually is present in libuv library? So let's see. First of all, libuv is a multi-platform support library which focus on asynchronous I/O. It was developed for use by Node.js. Okay, so we know that Node.js also focus on the asynchronous I/O and libuv also focus on this. So that's why it is developed for use by the Node.js. It includes features like file system events, asynchronous DNS resolution, asynchronous file and file system operations, full-featured event loop, threading, and many more. Okay, so you don't need to learn all these things. I am just giving you the overview that C++ is behind the Node.js. Okay, so this is one of the most important dependency of Node.js, which is libuv library, which is written in C++. Okay, the next thing that we have some other dependencies of Node.js on which Node.js also depends. So the first one is the LLHTTP. So this is basically designed to make any synchronous calls or allocations. Next we have CCHARs. C means the C language. So this is the library of C language. So these CRs are used for some asynchronous DNS requests. Next we have OpenSSL. So this basically is the implementation of many cryptographic functions. These are the functions on which the modern website security relies on. Okay, and last we have zlib, which is used for fast compression and decompression. So these are some of the dependencies that Node.js depends upon. And we have also learned that C++ is behind the Node.js that is supporting Node.js. But don't worry about that. We don't have to write any kind of C++ line in our coding. We write our code in JavaScript, in Node.js. Okay, so you don't need to care about that, what is going on behind the scenes in the C++. We have to write our code in JavaScript. Basically, it provides a layer of abstraction to us so that we can write our code in JavaScript. I hope that you understand. So this is the quick video in which I just want to show you that C++ is behind the Node.js and some dependencies of Node.js. So I hope that you understand. Again, we don't have to learn in depth about these things. We just have to take an overview of that. So I hope that you understand. So that's it for this video. If you feel any problem understanding anything in Node.js, you can definitely ask me a question. I am always here to help you. So I will see you in the next video. Welcome back to this course. So according to my experience, this is one of the most important video of this section, which are the callbacks. So in this video, we are going to focus that what actually are callbacks, and we will also understand the callbacks by the help of our coding example. Okay. So first of all, let's see what are callbacks. So callback is an asynchronous equivalent for a function. A callback function is called at the completion of a given task. Node makes heavy use of callbacks. Okay. So callback is just like a function that we use in JavaScript, but it is passed as an argument. Okay, so whenever we perform a task, when that task is completed, this callback function is automatically get executed, and Node.js uses callbacks heavily. Why? Because we know that Node.js run in a single thread. Okay, so we cannot block our code on a single task. Okay, so what we will do, we run that task in the background, and the Node.js moves on to the next task. Okay, and after that, when the previous task is completed in the background, then callback function is automatically called and we can do anything what we want. Okay, so basically callback help us in preventing from the blocking of the code. Okay, so what are the examples of callback? First of all, we have a reading a file, and second one is web that use update features. Okay, so for example, we are updating some data on our website. Okay, when we click on update button, updating process takes a long time. Okay, so that updating process will move to the background of the application, and we can do other works. Okay, when that update will be completed, then through the help of the callback function, we will be notified that your update has been completed. In the same way, reading the file, we start reading the file and we move on to our next code, okay? And after that reading of the file is completed, it will be notified to us that your file has been successfully read, okay? So these are the example of the callbacks. Now this is just the definition. Now let's see with the help of a coding example that how callback help us in Node.js, okay? So here first of all in my Visual Studio Code, I'm going to create a new file. In the new folder, it is BTS, that stands for behind the scenes, okay? So I'm going to create a new file with the name callbacks.js, okay? So first of all, I'm going to create a code that will not use the callbacks, because we want to see the difference between the using callbacks and not using the callbacks, okay? So we are going to use the example of reading a file, which is easier for us to demonstrate right now, okay? So first of all, you have to import a module called the fs file system to read files, okay? So I simply type here let fs equals to require, and we're going to require the fs module, okay? And after that, we have to read a data from a text file, okay? So simply type here let data equals to, and fs, I'm going to use a function called read file synchronous, okay? And in that I will simply pass the name of that file that I want to read. So I simply type here example.txt, okay? So we don't have any example.txt file in this directory, but we are going to create that shortly, okay? So now simply I'm going to console.log the data.toString. I'm going to convert that data and printing on this console, okay? And after that I simply type one more statement here, that console.log program ended, okay? That's it. Save it. Now I'm going to create a new file here with the name example.txt, and I write some content here like welcome to Node.js Express MongoDB Bootcamp, okay? Simply save it. Okay, so first of all, I just import or require the fs module, which stands for file system, that help us to manage the files, okay? And after that I have simply used the read file synchronous function to read this example.txt file and store that data in this data variable, okay? And after that I want to show the data in form of string, so I simply type here data.toString and simply console.log the program ended message, okay? So let's save it and run this code. Simply type here node callbacks.js and press enter, okay? So you see welcome to Node.js Express MongoDB Bootcamp and program ended. Simple as that. So in this way we are not using the callback, we are reading our data synchronously. First of all, this line get execute, then this file, then this line get execute, then this, and then this, okay? So now let's see how we can use the callbacks to improve the performance of our code, okay? So I am simply going to comment out these two lines right now, and I simply type here fs dot read file function, and I simply pass here the first argument, which is the name of the file, that is example.txt, okay? And now after that we have to type the callback function here, because we are going to use the callback this time, comma, I'm going to use the arrow function. First of all I type here error and then the data. So these are two parameters that I'm going to use. Error, if there is some error while opening or reading this file, then we can actually handle that error with this, and this is the data that we will get after this execution, okay? And after that I'm going to write some lines in here. I simply type here first of all if error, then we are simply going to return console.log or console.error, whatever you want to use. Simply type here error, and otherwise I will simply console.log data.toString, okay? That's it. And after that we have this program ended line, okay? So first of all, we require the module fs file system, then we use the callback system here. Okay, so simply I have used this fs.read file. First of all, in the first parameter, I type the name of the file, which is example.txt. Then I have passed the callback here. Okay, so first argument is the error. If there is some error while opening or reading this file, we will get this error right here. Okay, and if there is no error, then we get our data in this data variable that we can display on our console right now here. Okay, so this is the callback, this one. Okay, and after that we have a simple line, program ended. Let's save it and run this code. Simply type here node callbacks.js, press enter, and now you can see that we get program ended first, and then we get welcome to Node.js Express and MongoDB Bootcamp. Why? Because this time our code is not running synchronously. Okay, so what happened here is just imported this module, which is fs, then it simply read the file, which is example.txt, and moves on to this line. Okay, so we executed this line, and once this reading file process is completed, the callback function is called, and we have simply get our data on the console. So this is the benefit of using the callback. Our program is not blocked at the center. You can see that while reading the file, the process is not blocked. We move on and read our next data or execute our next instructions, but our code is not blocked. Okay, so this is the major benefit of using the callbacks. This is just a tiny example, but when we use it in our projects, this is definitely going to help us because we don't have to write the blocking code. We don't want to block our code. Okay, so as a developer, we always have to focus on writing a code that is non-blocking. Okay, so I hope that you understand what is the difference between using the callbacks and not using the callbacks. Anyhow, if you feel any problem in understanding anything about callbacks, definitely you can message me or ask a question. I am always here to help you. So that's it for this video. I will see you in the next video. Welcome back to this course. In our previous video, we have discussed about the callbacks, and now today in this video, we are going to start our new video in which we learn about the event loop, which is the heart of the Node.js. Okay, so you have to put your concentration on this video because this is one of the most important lecture also in this section. Okay, so before getting into the event loop, there is a concept called thread that I want to discuss before getting into the event loop. So first of all, let's see what is a thread. A thread can be seen as a unit of operations that our CPU has to perform for us. So whenever we run a program, we create an instance of it, and associated with that event, we have something internal called threads. And also we know that Node.js is a single threaded language. Okay, so only one thread is created in this CPU for whole process. Okay, but in general, we can associate different threads with a single process or program. For example, you can see in the diagram, we have a process program. Okay, that may have number of threads like thread 1, thread 2, thread 3, and thread 4. Okay, so thread 1 is performing functions like perform addition. Thread 2 is performing like function like run for loop till 10. Then in thread 3, it may be responsible for reading a file. And in thread 4, it may be running a function that is calculate salary. So we can associate different threads with the process of the program. Okay, but in Node.js, we have only a single thread on which whole application is going to run. It doesn't matter you have 1 user or 1000 users. Only one thread will be created for it. In other languages like PHP, each time a new thread is created. Okay, so Node.js is a single threaded language. Now let's discuss about the event loop. So in a thread, something like event loop is generated. Okay, the role of this loop is to schedule which operations our only thread should be performing at a given point. In the simple words, event loop is a mechanism that takes callback functions that we have discussed in our previous video. So this is a mechanism that takes the callback and register them to be executed at some point in the future. Okay, so basically event loop takes all the callbacks of the program and register them, and whenever that process is completed, that callback is called automatically in the future. Okay, so this is the main concept of the event loop. Now you may got a question in your mind what actually an event is. In simple words, every action on a computer is called an event. I'll give you an example, like whenever a connection is made, that is an event. When a file is opened, that is an event. Now event loop automatically runs when we run our application, okay? So whenever we block our thread, we are also going to block our event loop. Our event loop is also get blocked there, okay? Now let's discuss about the complete process of an event loop with the help of an example or a diagram, okay? First of all, in the step 1, everything scheduled with set timeout or set interval will be executed here. Set timeout or set interval are the methods. I hope that you know about that. This is the most commonly used methods. So in the first step of this event loop, everything that is scheduled with the set timeout or set interval method will be executed, okay? In the next step, which is the step 2, pending OS tasks are executed. Check for the callbacks that are ready to be called, okay? In the step 2, basically it checks which operating system tasks are pending, and also it checks that which callbacks are ready to be called, okay? In the step 3, it pauses the execution, wait for the new events to occur. So in step 4, it checks if function related to pending timers related to the set immediate function are ready to be called, okay? So basically the Node.js set immediate function interacts with the event loop in a special way, okay? So it basically checks if the function related to the pending timers related to the set immediate function are ready to be called. And in the final step, it manages the close events. So this is the complete loop of an event loop, okay? So these are the 5 steps that are involved in the event loop. I hope that you get an overview of the event loop, and this is the purpose of creating this video, just to give you an overview of the event loop. So I just summarized the event loop. So event loop runs automatically when we run our application, okay? So when we block our code, we are also going to block the event loop. Event loop is automatically blocked when a code is blocked. In simple words, event loop is just a mechanism that takes the callback functions, register them to be executed at some point in the future. Simple as that. I hope that you understand. Anyhow, if you feel any problem in understanding anything about the event loop, you can definitely ask me a question. I am always here to help you. So that's it for this video. I will see you in the next video. Welcome back to this course. So in our previous video, we have discussed about the event loop, and today in this video, we will discuss about the threads and the thread pool, okay? So without wasting our time, let's discuss it with the help of our diagram. So first of all, we have a program process running on our application, okay? So this is basically, you can say that the Node.js process or program process, okay, that runs when we run our application. In this program process or Node.js process, we have this box that is this single thread, okay? So we know that Node.js application always run in a single thread. So in this Node.js process or program process, we have a single thread, okay? So whenever we run our application, some steps are executed. The first step is that the program initializes, okay? The next step is that it requires all the modules. For example, if we require the FS module, then the FS module will be required in the program. If we require the HTTP module, then the HTTP module will be required in the program, okay? The next step is it register all the callbacks, okay? All the callbacks are registered in the next process that we have written in that program. And after that, it starts the event loop. That is the heart of the Node.js. That is the main thing in the thread, okay? That basically runs when we run this application. Most of the work is done in this event loop. Event loop performs a bunch of tasks, but there are some heavy tasks, okay? So if those tasks are performed in the event loop, that takes a lot of time. When it takes a lot of time, it is definitely going to block the code. And we don't want to do that because we know that Node.js is a non-blocking language. We don't have to block the code. So here something comes in that is called the thread pool. Thread pool is a separate pool of threads that basically contains 4 threads. Now whenever a heavy task comes in, the event loop put those tasks in that thread pool so that it does not block the execution or block the code of the application, okay? So we have a thread pool that contains about 4 threads in it, okay? So after that, the heavy tasks are moved from event loop to the thread pool, and thread pool then will be responsible for that processing, okay? The heavy tasks include like file systems, or you can say that the compression or decompression that takes a lot of time, okay? So this happens in the thread pool. So this is the basic idea of thread and the thread pool. I repeat it once again. We have a program process or Node.js process in which we have a single thread in which our application runs. Some steps are performed. The first step is program initializes, then all the modules are required will be added in it. After that, it will register all the callbacks, then it starts the event loop. Okay, now we know that most of the work is done in the event loop. It is responsible for calling all the callbacks. Okay, so there are some heavy tasks. If we execute those tasks in the event loop, then our program will be blocked, our code will be blocked, and our event loop will also be blocked, and we don't want to do that. Okay, then what we will do, we have a separate thing that is called thread pool that contains additional 4 threads. We move those heavy tasks to the thread pool, and then after that, thread pool is responsible for that tasks. Those, I have given you example, those heavy tasks may be file systems or something called the compression or decompression. Okay, so this is the main idea of the thread and the thread pool. I hope that you understand. Anyhow, if you feel any problem understanding anything about thread or thread pool, you can definitely ask me a question. I am always here to help you. So that's it for this video. I will see you in the next video. Welcome back to this course. So this is the last video of this section in which we are going to cover about the event-driven architecture. Okay, so the concept is very simple. This architecture is pretty simple, and we will understand this architecture with the help of an coding example. Okay, so first of all, let's see what is the event-driven architecture. First of all, in Node.js, we have some certain objects that are called the event emitters. Okay, so these basically emits the events as something special or something happens in our application. Okay, so it basically emits the events and that are listened by the event listeners. So event listeners are something that the developer write, that we are also going to write in this video. Okay, so event emitter objects emits the event, and the event listener listen that event, and after that it call the callbacks for that specific event listener. Okay, so this is the simple and very helpful architecture that we are going to use in this video. Okay, so I just repeated once again. There are some objects in Node.js like event emitters that emits the events as something happens in our application, and next we have the event listeners that listens for that events that the event emitter emits. Okay, and after that we have callback functions that are called for that specific event listener. Simple as that. Now let's understand this concept or this architecture with the help of a coding example. So let's see it. So first of all, in the same folder, it is the BTS behind the scenes. I'm going to create a new file with the name event driven architecture.js. Okay, so in this file, first of all, I'm going to require a module that is called the events. Okay, so simply I type here let events equals to require, and I simply require a module here that is events. Simple. Now before writing the event listener, okay, I have to write the event emitter. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to create a new event emitter here. So I simply type here event emitter. Don't worry about what I am writing. I will explain this each and everything in a minute. Okay, so simply equals to new events dot event emitter. Okay, so I have just created a new event emitter, and after that I have to basically fire the connection event. I want to simply type here event emitter dot emit the connection. Okay, so connection, and after that we have to listen for this event. Okay, so simply type here event emitter dot on the connection event. Simply call this callback function, that is console.log connection successful. Okay, simple. Okay, so I simply save it. Before explaining this program, let's run this once. So simply type here node event driven architecture.js, and we get connection successful on our console. Okay, so now let's understand this code. First of all, we have this line. We are just requiring the events module in our file. Okay, After requiring that, we are creating a new event emitter because we have to emit an event. Okay, so I simply create a variable event emitter and create a new event emitter. Now after that, the first step, we know that the first step was to emit the event or fire the event. Okay, so in this case our event is this connection. Okay, so I simply type here event emitter dot emit this event. I am simply emitting this event. Okay, and now we know that once we emit our event, we also have to listen for that event. So this is basically the code for the event listener that will listen for the event. Okay, so this first one is the event emitter dot on is the event listener. Okay, this is the listener that will listen for an event. Okay, so for what event we have to listen? We have to listen for connection event. Okay, we are emitting here connection, we all have to listen for this connection event. Okay, and after this basically listener listens for this connection event, then we have to pass a callback here. Okay, and once we listen for this event, that is connection, we are going to basically call our callback function that will display connection successful. Okay, so let's copy this line and paste it again, and then simply type here connections. Okay, I simply save it and run this code. You can see that I only get connection successful once. Okay, why? Because at first we are emitting the connection event, and at the second time we are emitting the connections event. Okay, so this connection matches with this connection, this connections doesn't match with this connection. Okay, so this basically matches the event and then call the callback function for that. So this is the event driven architecture. I hope that you understand with the help of this example. Let me write some comments here. You type here creating an event emitter, and this one is just firing the event, or you can say that connection event. Okay, and this is the event handler, or you can say event listener. Okay, so I hope that you understand what we have done in this video. This is just the simple architecture, event driven architecture that we have used with the help of a coding example. Okay, so if you feel any problem in understanding anything about behind the scenes of Node.js or this event driven architecture, you can definitely contact me. You can definitely ask a question. I am always here to help you. Okay, so that's it for this video. I will see you in the next section. Welcome back to the new section of this course. So this section is all about expressjs. So without wasting our time, let's see first of all what is Express and why we use it in our course. First of all, what is expressjs? So expressjs is a minimal and flexible Node.js web application framework that provides a robust set of features to develop web and mobile applications. Okay, so basically Express is the web application framework for Node.js. Okay, and also one of the most popular framework in web development. Okay, so it is also used in mobile applications, but we are only going to focus on the web applications. This is very minimal and flexible, means this framework is really easy to learn, and also it is lightweight framework for web development, and definitely that's why we are going to use it in our course. So now let's see what are the features of Node.js. Some of the features of expressjs are, first of all, most popular framework for Node.js. Whenever we talk about the framework for Node.js, then Express is one of the most popular. And the reason behind its popularity is that it is lightweight and very much easy to use, especially for the beginners. Okay. At second, rapid development of node-based web applications. Whenever we want to create node-based applications, web applications, we are going to use the expressjs because it helps us to make applications really fast. So rapid development is one of the main feature of expressjs. Okay. After that, it allows us to set middlewares to respond to HTTP requests. Now don't get confused with this middleware right now. We are going to discuss it in our next videos. Okay. So this is the feature that saves a lot of time of developers. That's why we use Express. Next, defines a routing table which is used to perform different actions based on HTTP method and URL. Now in our next videos, we are going to discuss about the routing in detail. So in that videos, you will have a better idea that why this is the main feature of expressjs. Okay, so don't get confused with it right now. After that, it also allows us to render HTML pages based on passing arguments to templates. Definitely we are going to build a project that has HTML pages. So expressjs help us to render HTML pages dynamically. Okay, so we can also pass our data from our backend to the front end using expressjs. Okay, and after that, large and growing community. The community of expressjs is huge and it is growing day by day because expressjs is most easy and the best framework for beginners to learn. Okay, so these are some of the features of expressjs. Next, there are two major web stacks that many companies uses, and Express is present in both of these stacks. The first stack is MERN. So MERN stands for M MongoDB, E Express, and A Angular, and N for Node. So this is one of the most popular web development stack that you use in many companies. Okay, so Express is present in this stack. Also, we have our second stack that is MERN. So MERN, MongoDB, Express, React, and Node. Express is also present in this stack, and this is also one of the most popular web stack that is used by many companies. Okay, so you can take idea from this that how popular is expressjs. Okay, so this is the main reason why we are going to use the Express. Express is really simple to use, it is lightweight, and also it is very helpful for beginners to get into web development by using the expressjs. So I hope that you understand what is expressjs. It is just a framework that is used for Node.js, and it helps us to make our web development applications really quickly. Okay, so in our next video we are going to write our first expressjs application. So I hope that you understand what we have done in this video. So that's it for this video. If you feel any problem in understanding about expressjs, you can definitely ask me a question. I am always here to help you. So that's it for this video. I will see you in the next video. Welcome back to this course. So this is our second video of this section in which we are going to build our first expressjs application. Okay, so we have to install Express framework with this NPM Node Package Manager. Okay, so you can see on the official website of NPM this Express package, you can see its weekly download. There are over 10 million plus downloads weekly for this framework. So this is very popular framework. Okay, so let's start using this framework on our Visual Studio Code. So first of all, here in Visual Studio I have a new folder with the name expressjs for this section. Okay, so in this folder I'm going to create a new folder with the name first Express app. Okay, and now in this folder, first of all, I am going to go into the folder. I type here cd and type here Express, and then I go to the cd and then the first Express app. Okay, so in here, first of all, I'm going to create a new file, and simply I type here app.js. Okay, so now here, first of all, I have to require the Express package here, or Express framework. So I simply type here const express equals to require Express. Okay, so this is not the built-in module of this Node.js. We have to install it by using the Node Package Manager. Okay, and before doing that, I forgot to create the package.json file, so I simply type here npm init to initialize our application. Okay, so I press enter here, and now first of all I typed the package name, first Express app, that's it, version, description, first Express app, and just type enter, and that's it. Okay, so we have a package.json file right here, this one. Okay, so first of all I simply type here npm I express and dash save to save the name of this Express in our package.json dependencies. Okay, so I simply press enter from here, and our installing has been started. Okay, so Express is installed in our application. So now we have to type here const app equals to Express. Okay, so what does this mean? Okay, so in this line we have just required the Express package, and now we have to use the methods of this Express. Okay, so for that I simply create a const variable with the name app. You can type anything here like app or route or any name, but app is used by the most of developers and is a naming convention, so that's why I'm going to write here app, and then simply going to call the Express function. Simple as that. And after that I have to now build my Express application. Now before starting here, We know that whenever we go to the google.com, we are requesting the page from Google, which is the home page. So we are sending the request to Google. So that is called the get request because we want to get that web page. So in the same way, whenever we want to access a web page, we send the get request. Okay. So for this application, I am also going to send the get request for the home page. So I simply type here app.get to send the get request. Okay. And the first argument is the URL, which URL I want to access. Okay. So this time it is the home page. Okay. So I simply type here /nodejs. This is the home page. And after that, we have to type a callback here. So I simply type here request and response and arrow function res.send. And I simply type here first express app. Okay, that's it. Okay, so now first of all, we have sent the get request for this home page of this web app. And now we have set up this callback here. Request and response. We know that what is callback. We have discussed that in our previous section. Okay. So whenever we send a request to a web page, for example, google.com, then the server respond us with a web page or some data. Okay. So this time we are a developer. We are developing our own application. So we have to decide that which data we have to send. So for this simple app, I am going to send this simple text first express app. So this res is a respond. We are sending the response back to the client from the server, this text that is first express app. Okay. Now if you run this application, it is not going to run in our browser because we have to listen on some port. So I simply type here app.listen and I type here port number 3000. You can type anything here. And also I just write a callback here and simply type here console.log. And I simply type here server started on port 3000. That's it. Okay. So let's save it and run this application first of all. So I simply type here node app.js. You can see the message server started on port 3000. Now if I go to my Google Chrome, I simply type here localhost 3000. Okay, and I press enter. You can see the message first express app. So this is our first application we have built with the Express framework and Node.js. Okay, so now I just repeat this program once again. First of all, we have required this Express package or framework. Then we have just call this Express method and store it in this app variable. And after that, we have sent the get request to this home page. Okay, so app.get to this home page. And after that, we have a callback function that is going to run whenever this slash or this home page is going to be called. Now we are developer, we have to decide that which data we have to send to the client. So this time we are sending the response. Res is the response here. So response.send, we are sending this simple text here. Okay. After that, we have listened to this port and display that server started on port 3000. Okay, so now make this application a little bit more complex. Now I'm going to write HTML here. So I simply remove this from here. I'm going to add two links here, a tag and href. I simply type here /contact. Whenever someone click on this hyperlink, then we have to move to the /contact page. Okay, which is not yet present, but we are going to create in a little time. So I simply close this tag from here /a and I type here contact us. Okay, and after that we're going to create another route here. I simply type here app.get and I simply type here /contact. Pass a callback here, request response, and I simply type here res.send and I simply type here h1 and I type here contact us page. That's it. Okay, so first of all, we will call this home page that has a link contact us. When we click on this contact us link, we go to /contact route. Okay, so this route is called from here, and we will see that contact us page will be displayed on that page. Okay, so simply save it and Control C to exit from this node app.js. Server is started successfully. And now if I just reload this page, you can see a hyperlink here that is contact us. When I click on it and we are on our /contact page, you can see here contact us page. Okay, go back. Now if I just manually type here /contact, we can also access this page in this way. Okay, now add one more link here. So I simply copy this from here, Control C, and I just break the line from here, br tag, and then again this link, and I type here about us, and URL will be about. Okay, so I simply type here app.get for this URL, that is about. Callback here, request response, and I simply type here res.send, this time the h1, that is about us page. That's it. Save it and run this program once again. So node app.js, reload it. You can see two links here, contact us and about us. When I click on the about us, you can see that I go to the about us page. Okay, so this is our first application that we have built in the Express framework. Okay, so one thing you have noticed here, we are writing our HTML in this line. Okay, so this is a simple app, that's why we are not feeling much complex. But what happens if we have a whole web page written with the HTML, CSS and a lot of stuff? Then we cannot write HTML in here. Okay, we have to create a separate file for that, and we have to render that HTML file in this app.js file, and we are going to do that when we will learn about the template engine. Okay, right now this is okay. So I hope that you understand what we have done in this video. Simply we have learned about this Express application, we have learned about this get request. So whenever we type this, we are creating a route here. This is a route for this /home page, this is the route for this /contact page, and this is the route for this /about page. We have also requests like get, which we have used here. We have also post request and delete request. We are going to learn in our next videos. Okay, so I hope that you learned what we have done in this video. So that's it for this video. I will see you in the next video. Welcome back to this course. So today in this video we are going to discuss about template engines that we are going to use in the Node.js. Okay, so in our first video of this section, in which we have built our first Express app, then we have written this piece of code here. You can see that in these quotations we are writing our HTML, and I told you that before that this is not a good idea to write HTML here. This is a single line, that's why we write here. But if we have a HTML5 that has about 500 or 600 lines of code, then this is not possible to write here. Okay, so for that we are going to use a template engine, the template engine that will render our HTML file. Okay, so we are going to create our separate HTML files, CSS files and JavaScript files, and we are going to use our template engine for that. Okay, there are a couple of options that we can use for template engines, but we are going to discuss about top 3 most popular template engines that we can use. Okay, so the first one is this EJS template engine that we are going to use in this course. Okay, so EJS stands for embedded JavaScript. So basically this template engine helps us to embed our JavaScript in the HTML file, and this is the template engine that we're going to use because this is really simple and easy to use. Okay, you can see its definition. EJS is simple templating language that let you generate HTML markup with plain JavaScript. So this is the main definition of this template engine, that we can use this to generate HTML markup with plain JavaScript. We can embed our JavaScript code in the HTML. It is really easy to use, especially for beginners. Okay, so this is the template engine that we're going to use in our course. And the second option is Pug. This is also one of the most popular template engine right now, but I should not recommend this template engine because its syntax is very ugly. If you go to one of its example, like we go to here, like conditionals, and you can see that here, this is the syntax of using the Pug. This is really hard for the beginners to understand. That's why I don't recommend you to use this template engine at the start of this course or at the starting of your career, okay? But this is one of the most popular template engine right now. And also we have another option that is called handlebars. So handlebars is also a simple templating language that will help us to generate HTML, okay? So you can see its syntax here. We just put two curly brackets and then put our variable in there to display that value. And there are many other couple of template engines that we can use, but we are going to stick with this EJS template engine because it is quite simple and easy to use, especially for beginners, okay? So throughout this course, we're going to use this template engine. And to use this EJS in our projects, we have to install it using this NPM Node Package Manager, okay? So you can see from its weekly downloads, there are over 4.6 million downloads weekly of this package. So you can see that how popular is this. Okay, so this is just introduction lecture of the template engines. So I hope that you understand. So in our next video, we are going to write our first application that will use the HTML files or EJS template engine. I will see you in the next video. Welcome back to this course. So in our previous video, we have discussed about the template engines. So in this video, we are going to write our first application using the template engine, that is EJS, okay? So to do that, first of all, I'm going to make a new folder. In my expressjs folder, I type here make dir with the name first EJS app, okay? And in this folder, first of all, I'm going to create a new file with the name app.js, okay? So first of all, I'm going to write here const express equals to require express, and then const app equals to express. After that, app dot listen to this port 3000, then a callback console dot log server started at port 3000. Okay, so now we have to write a route here. For example, I type here app.get and I simply type here slash demo and pass a callback here, request response. And now here I have to render my HTML template. So for that, I simply type here response dot render. And in this method, first of all, I have to type the name of the file that I want to render, okay? So name should be like index.ejs, okay? That's it. Okay, so to render any EJS template, we have to use here res.render, then the name of the file, it is index.ejs, okay? So make it confused with that, but I don't have type here index.html because this time we are not going to use only HTML, we are using the EJS embedded JavaScript template engine, okay? So we have to embed our JavaScript in the HTML. So that's why I have typed here index.ejs, okay? So now we know that there is no index.ejs file right now, so we are going to create that in this folder. So I type here new file and just type here index.ejs, and here first of all I'm going to type a single h1 statement, that is welcome to EJS template engine, okay? Save that. And okay, so before running this application, first of all I go to cd and then I go to the expressjs, and here I don't have my folder. Okay, so we have created the folder outside this folder, expressjs. Okay, so don't worry about that. So we're going to move back cd dot dot and cd first express EJS app. Okay, so now in this, first of all I'm going to run here npm init Then I type here NPM Express, and also we have to install EJS template engine, so I type here EJS and -- save. Okay. Okay, so now simply type here node app.js. Now I go to my Chrome browser and simply type here localhost 3000/demo. Okay, so you can see that failed to look up views index.js in views directory. Okay, so what happened here, whenever we create the index.js file or EJS file, we always have to put that file inside the views directory. Okay, so this is the error we got here. So I simply Control-C from here and create a new directory in this folder. Simply type here views. Okay, and I simply cut it from here and paste it inside the views directory right here. Okay, save it, and now if I type here node app.js and go back and reload my page, this time you can see that welcome to EJS template engine. So this is our first application that we have run in the EJS template engine. Now we can also pass some values to this template engine. For example, if I want to pass some value from here to this template engine, then we can also do that. Okay, so I'm going to take the example of previous video, that is the Stack Overflow. So I simply type here /user/id and /username. Okay, and I simply type here let user id equals to request.params.id, and also let user equals to request.params.username. Okay, now to pass the values, I simply put a comma here and pass the values in form of object. So I simply type here id equals to user id, comma username equals to colon user. Okay, so I have simply get the values from the parameters, and now to pass those values to this template engine or to this EJS file, I simply put a comma here and pass an object as a second argument. Okay, so first of all I have to pass the user ID, so I pass user ID. So to access the user ID, we have to type here simple ID. We don't have to type user ID. This user ID is this one, and this ID is the name that we're going to use in this template engine. Okay, in the same way, this user is this one, and username is the variable that we're going to use in this EJS template engine. Okay, so I simply save it and go here, and I type here Stack Overflow. Okay, and I simply type here a p tag, and in here I simply want to print the value of this user ID and user. Okay, so what I do to display the value, we have to use the tags of EJS. Okay, so for that I simply type here this bracket, then the percentage sign, then equals to, and then again percentage sign, and the closing bracket. Okay, so in here I have to pass the value, that is ID. Okay, this ID. In the same way, it's just Control-C and Control-V here and type here username, or yes, username. Okay, so I simply save it and just run this program once again. So node app.js, I go back and type here user slash some ID slash the username, I type here John, press enter, and you can see that the ID and the username appears right here. In this way we can also pass the values to our EJS file. Okay, so I just repeat this program once again. First of all, I have created this route, get route to this URL. Now I have rendered this index.js template. Okay, I mean now I want to pass some values to this HTML or EJS file. Now I want to pass some value to this EJS file. So I simply pass it as a second argument, which is object. Okay. So in here, first of all, I pass the ID, then I pass the username. So this user ID is this one, and this ID which you're going to use in this EJS file. Okay. In the same way, this user is this one right here, and this username is the variable that we're going to use in this EJS file. Okay. So to display the values in this EJS file, we have to follow this tags basically. Okay. So to display our values, we simply type this bracket %sign equals to, and then we write the name of the variable or the value we want to display. Then we close these as percentage and this bracket. Okay. So in this way, we can also display the values in our EJS file. I hope that you understand. So this is the very simple application that we have created in this video. So I hope that you understand. That's it for this video. I will see you in the next video. Welcome back to this course. So in our previous video, we have created our first Express application. And now in this video, we are going to learn about the order of these routes that we have written here, these order of these routes. And also we are going to set up our 404 page, or the page that will run when no route will be matched from here. For example, if I run this application, node app.js, I go to the Google Chrome browser and I simply type here localhost 3000. I get to this page that has two links, contact us and about us. But what happens if I go to the slash blog? We are going to get a message here that cannot get slash blog. So we have to display a proper message here that this page does not exist, or 404 error. Okay. So for that, we have to set up our default route that will called when no URL matches from here. Okay. So I simply go back and simply I type here app.get, and this time I simply type here this static. So what happens is, first of all, the Express or Node check for this URL slash blog exists here, no slash blog does not present here. It check for this, then check this. If nothing match here, then it call this a route. Nothing matches here. Okay. So I simply type here request response, and simply I type here res.send 404 this page does not exist, and I simply take a URL from here, anchor tag, paste it here, and type here go to home page to make it a little bit better application, and I simply type here slash. Okay. So now I simply save this and run this program once again. Go to Google Chrome and refresh this page. And now you can see a message here 404 this page does not exist. Go to the home page. That's it. Now if I go to the about us, you can see here. If you go to the contact us, you can see the page for contact us. If I go to the some other page like social media, you are going to get a proper message that 404 this page does not exist. Go to the home page. That's it. So this is the purpose of this route. Okay. And now if I change the order of this route, if I just cut it from here and I just paste it here just after the home page, save it, and now if I just restart my application, go to the Google Chrome browser, if I reload, I'm going to get this same result. But when I click on the about us, I'm going to get 404 this page does not exist. Go to the home page. If I click on this about us, same message will appear. Okay. So when I cut it from here again and move it here, restart my app, reload it. Now on the home page, you can also see that we get this message 404 this page does not exist. Go to the home page, and again we got this error. So this means that the order of the routes matter a lot. Okay. So for this route especially, we have to type this route at the end of all routes. Okay. As I explained before that, first of all, the application will check for this route. So this static will match with all routes. Okay. So that's why this page runs and nothing else is going to run from here. Okay. So if we type this route at the end of our all routes, first of all, it check for this route, then for this, then for this. If nothing matches, then this route is going to run by default. Okay. So make sure that your order of the route should be proper. I cut it from here and just paste it after that at the end. Okay, save it. Okay, so now I hope that you understand what we have done in this video. First of all, we have learned that the order of the routes matter. We have to type the routes properly, okay, especially for this static route, this one. Okay, so make sure that you place this route at the end of this application, and this is a route that is present almost in every application, because we know that user may type the invalid URL. So in that case we have to send a message that 404 this page does not exist. Okay, so I hope that you understand what we have done in this video. So that's it for this video. I will see you in the next video. Welcome back to this course. So today in this video we are going to discuss about route parameters. Okay, so before getting into the coding part, first of all, let's see what are route parameters with the help of our example. So now this is the website that is called Stack Overflow, which is basically a forum. So on this web page you just need to focus on this URL. Okay, you can see the URL Stack Overflow, which is the domain name, then /questions /ID of that question, and / the title or the URL of that question. Okay, so this is the structure of this question. Okay, so in our previous video we have discussed about the basic routes like / contact / about. So every page has a unique URL that will help us to access that web page. In this case, this is the unique URL that will take us to this question. Okay, so just think about that. There are over 18 million questions on this forum, that is Stack Overflow. 18 million plus questions on this website. Every question has a different URL. So this means that they have defined 18 million plus routes for their questions. Okay, right? But that's not the case. They have not defined 18 million plus routes like app.get for this URL, then app.get for this question, then app.get for this question. This is not the case. This is definitely not possible in programming. Okay, what they have done is they have just defined a pattern for this question. Okay, so you have just defined that whenever someone go to stackoverflow.com /question / there is some ID and / there is some URL, then simply you have to search for that question in the database for this ID or for this URL and show that web page to the client or the user. Okay, so they have just defined the pattern of a question, and every question, 18 million plus question, follow this single pattern that will be defined in a single route. Okay, and also if you look at this URL stackoverflow.com /users / the ID of the user / the name of the user, that is John FO. So there may be 10 million plus users on this website. Okay, so this is not possible that they define 10 million plus routes for each user. They have just defined a pattern for that users, and every time whenever a user profile is called, this route is get called. Okay, so in this video we are going to define these two routes for this question and for these users that will follow this pattern. Okay, so let's see how we can do that in our Visual Studio Code. So first of all, here I'm going to create a new folder with the name route parameters. So this time I'm going to create folder with command line. So I simply type here make dir, and I type here routes parameters. Okay, clear the screen and cd to this routes parameters. Okay, now I am this folder. I'm going to create a new file. Simply I type here routes parameters, create a new file, and I simply type here app.js. Okay, first of all I'm going to type here const express equals to require express, and then const app equals to express, and I'm going to listen on port 3000. Simply type here console.log server started on port 3000. Okay, and now I have to follow the pattern for the questions first. Okay, so I simply type here app.get, and I simply have to type the pattern here, and before that I simply call a callback here res request response, and then I simply type here res.send. This route handles all the questions. Okay, now I have to define a pattern here. So what I do, I simply go to this page and just copy this URL from here, which is the /question/this. So Control C from here and paste it here. Okay, so I know that questions will be always here. Now here I have ID, which is always going to change for every question. So I simply type here ID, and for this I have title of that question. So I simply type here title. Okay, so this is the pattern for this question URL. But if I just call this get method like this, then it is always going to match /questions/id and /title as it is. Okay, now I don't want to do that. I want to change this ID and title every time dynamically. Okay, so for that I simply type here a colon, and also I type here a colon. This means that their value is going to change. This is not hard-coded URL. Okay, so this is the pattern that will followed by the question of Stack Overflow. And now that let's define the route for the users. So I simply first of all type here a callback request response, simply type here res.send, and I just type here this route will handle all the users of Stack Overflow, like that. Okay, and here I have to follow the pattern for the users. So I simply copy this from here, Control C, and then I will simply go back and paste it here. Type here users ID and /username, like that. So this is the pattern for this route. Okay, so I simply save it, and now let's our program. So let's type here node app.js. Okay, so I have an error here. Okay, so we forgot to install the Express package. Before that, I simply type here npm init, initialize our application. Just press enter a couple of times, and then I simply type here npm express -- save. Our package is now installing. So now I type here node app.js, and that's it. Now if I go to the localhost 3000, I have not defined the route for this /, but I have defined the pattern for these questions. So I simply type here questions / some ID / some URL that what is node.js. So this route handles all the questions. Okay, so if I change something here, like I don't define the ID here, like this, now I'm going to get that this route is not defined. So that will always going to match that pattern and display for that question. Okay, so you can see the URL questions / this ID and / this URL. If I change something here like to this and type here node.js and expressjs and press enter, you are going to get the same result. This route handles all the questions. And now if I go to users / ID / name, for example John, so this route will handle all the users of Stack Overflow. So this time it follows that route pattern and show us this page. Okay, so I hope that you understand. Now if I want to display something on this page, for example for this route I want to display this username on the page. So what I do, I will simply request that username. Okay, there are two parameters here, request and response. This time we are going to request that username. So for that we have to use this request variable here, or request instance here. So for that I simply type here like let user equals to request dot params. Okay, so we are going to use this params, and then we are going to use this user name. Okay, And after that, I simply type here, this route will handle I simply type here, will handle. You can concatenate here, user. I type here, profile, like this. Okay, so I simply save it and run this program once again. Server started on port 3000. I go back to here. I press enter again. You can see that this route will handle John profile. If I type here like Chris, you can see that this route will handle Chris profile. If I just type here Mike, so this route will handle Mike profile. In the same way, we can use this ID here. Okay, so I simply type here, let user ID equals to request dot params dot this ID. Okay, so I save it and I simply type here that has ID. I simply concatenate here user ID. Save it and run this program once again. And I'm just going to reload it. This time you can see that this route will handle Mike profile that has ID, this one. If I change the ID from here like 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, you can see that this ID also changed here. So I hope that you understand what we have done in this video. I just conclude this video. First of all, we have just used this our Express framework. Then we have created our route for this question page. Okay, so this time we don't define routes for all 18 million questions. We have just defined a single route. We have just defined a single pattern that will follow all that 18 million questions. Okay, so that is questions slash ID, some ID and slash some title. Okay, so whenever someone call this type of URL, then what we'll write here is going to run. Okay, so this time we just type a single statement here. That's why we just get it here. But when we build our own project or forum, we are going to display all the content of that question right in this route. Okay, and after that we have defined the route for this user that will follow the user pattern, because we cannot write 10 million plus routes for each user. Okay, so we have just defined the pattern for this user and just send this text. And we have also used this request parameter because this time we are going to request the parameters. We know that these are the route parameters. This ID is the route parameter, this username is the route parameter. So we have just request the parameters, that is ID, and in here we have just request the parameters that is username. Okay, and just display that here. I hope that you understand. Anyhow, if you feel any problem in understanding anything about expressjs, you can definitely ask me a question. I am Roger here to help you. So that's it for this video. I will see you in the next video. Welcome back to this course. So in our previous video, we have created our first application that used the EJS template engine. Okay, so in this video, this is the quick video in which I want to show you some folder structure or directory structure for our EJS applications. Okay, so the first thing we need to do here is that whenever we create our EJS files, we always put them in this views directory. Okay, that we have created in our previous video. So we always put our EJS file in the views directory, and also we know that this is simple HTML. If I want to add CSS here, then I have to include this CSS file in this EJS file also. Okay, so whenever we want to put some style sheets, images, or something called JavaScript files, front-end JavaScript files, then we create a new directory with the name public. Okay, so for that I'm going to create a new directory here in this first EJS folder with the name public. Okay, and then in this public file we can further create some folders like if I go to here cd first EJS app and I go to cd public, and in this public folder we can further make some subdirectories like make directory. You can name like style sheets or styles or designs for the CSS file. So I'm simply going to type here style sheets to put our CSS files in this style sheets folder, and to put our JavaScript files I'm going to create a new directory with the name make.dir.js to put our JS files in this directory, and put our images I'm going to make other folder make.dir images. Okay, so put all our images in this directory. So this is the folder, public folder, that contains further 3 folders like images, JavaScript and style sheets, and all this folder contains its own files. Okay, so now to use these, we cannot directly put some files in that and use it in our EJS. We have to write some piece of code to make it happen. Okay, so for example, I want to add style sheet in my application. So I'm going to create a new file here like design.css. Okay, so in here, first of all, I simply type here h1 and I type here like background color to red like this. Okay, so I save it. If I just run this, it is not going to work. I have to include this CSS file in this folder, in this file. Okay, so what I do, I simply type here something like HTML and head tag, and after that I have to put the body tag like this, and I put all this content right in here. Control X and paste it here. And to include our CSS file, I'm simply going to type here link, and I simply in href I can simply type here design.css. okay, so now if I just do that, or if I just type here anything, it is not going to work. I have to write a separate piece of code to make it happen. So for that, I have to go back to app.js and I have to type a single line here, that is middleware, and we are going to discuss about the middlewares in future. Okay, so don't get confused with that right now. So I simply type here app.use and I simply type here express.static and I type here the directory name, that is public. Okay, so what I have done here is I have tell the Express to include this public directory and use it whenever I call it. Okay, so now if I just go back and give the path here like style sheets / design.css, okay, and /. Okay, I save this and run this code. So I simply type here node app cd and then node app.js, and if I go to the Google Chrome browser and just refresh this page, nothing happens. If I go to the view page source and click on it, okay, so we have to remove this dot from here like this, save it and run this program once again and refresh it again, and now you can see that our style sheet is working properly. Okay, and in the same way, if I want to include this JavaScript file, I can do that simply like I have done with this style sheet. So the main purpose of this video is to show you that we can also include our CSS JavaScript images in our application, but we have to follow the directory structure that is followed by the programmers or the developers of Node.js. Okay, I just repeated once again. First of all, we have the public folder in which you have different folders like images, JavaScript or style sheets that contain its own files. Okay, so then we have tell the app.js to use this public directory in this application. Okay, and one more thing before closing this video is that we are writing .ejs every time here. Okay, so this is just one example. I have used just one file, but when we use our project, we have like 10-20 files of EJS, so it's not a good idea to always write .ejs here. So we are also going to set it at the top. So I simply type here app.use. okay, so, and I simply type here view engine, that is EJS. Okay, save it, and now if I remove this EJS from here, save it and run this program once again. Okay, so we got some error here. If I go back and see that, okay, so we have to write here app.set. okay, I want to set this view engine to EJS. okay, so now if I save it and run this program once again like node app.js, and now if I go back to my Google Chrome browser and reload it, nothing happens. Okay, so in this way we have also set up the view engine by default to EJS, so we don't have to write EJS every time when we create the EJS file or create a route or render the EJS file. Okay, so these two lines we have added in this video. Okay, so this line basically help us to tell Express that you have to use this public directory, and this line tells the Express to use this EJS as the view engine for this project. Okay, and one more thing I have to add here is I also want to set here app.set. I also have to set the views directory by default. So I type here views and I type here path.join directory name and then the views, which is the directory we have created before that. Okay, and by writing this line here, we have tell the Express to use this view directory for our EJS files. We have just used this path.join and directory name to tell the Express that go to this path and then use this view directory for the EJS files. Okay, I just conclude this video. So first of all, whenever we create our EJS files, we are always going to put them in this views directory. Okay? We have set it by default in this line. Okay, after that we have set the view engine to EJS by default so that we don't have to write EJS every time when we render our file. Okay, and after that we have set up this line that will tell the Express to use this public directory in which we have our CSS files, images and JavaScript files like that. Okay, so I hope that you understand, and this is a structure that we are going to follow throughout this course. This directory structure is really important to understand. I hope that you understand. So in our next video, we are going to discuss about the loops and conditional statements. So that's it for this video. I will see you in the next video. Welcome back to this course. So today in this video, we are going to learn that how we can use loops in our template engine or EJS files. Okay, so let's understand it with the help of a coding example. So first of all, I'm going to create a new folder in expressjs folder. I type here make dir and the name should be like EJS loops. Okay, so I simply move to this EJS loops and create a new file here. App.js. First of all, const express equals to require express and const app equals to express app dot listen to this port 3000. Okay, so now first of all I have to create a route here, so I simply type here app.get and I'm going to create /questions route request response, and I have to render a template. So some type here render and they should be like index and that's it. Okay, also I have to set up here like these two lines. Okay, I hope that you understand. Every time we have to use these two lines in our projects. Okay, this time we don't have any CSS file or JavaScript file, that's why I'm not going to write here the public directory setup line. Okay, so now simply I have to use a loop in this index.ejs file. So for that I want to create a array, so I simply type here let questions equals to, so I simply create a array of questions that have further objects which have title, what is nodejs, and also I add a user here that asks this question, type here John, then also I type here votes that may be 10. Okay, after that I simply copy this line, paste it here and change the votes to 8 and I type here Mike and I simply type here express.js. Okay, I add one more here and I simply type here what is MongoDB, and this user may be like Paul, and the rating may be votes maybe 6. Okay, so now I have created this array of questions that have further 3 objects that contain some data. Okay, now let's pass this data to this EJS file, and using a for loop we are going to display that data in this file. Okay, so I simply type here questions. Okay, so remember that this questions is this one, and this is the variable that we are going to use in our EJS file. Okay, so simply I'm going to create a new directory here in EJS loops, that is views. Okay, so in this views directory I'm going to create a new file with the name index.ejs. Okay, so in here first of all I type h1 statement here. I type here stack overflow questions, like that. Okay, so now I want to display all the questions using our loop. Now you can use for loop, you can use for each loop, that's totally depend upon you. Right now I'm going to use for each loop because for each loop is the best loop for iteration over an array. Okay, so I simply type here questions dot for each, and I type here an arrow function, type here question, and I simply type here that I want to display. Okay, so I want to first of all display the title, so I simply type here question and its title. Then I want to display the user and then the votes. Okay, so now first of all I have my h1 simple, and after that I have just displayed the data here like this. Okay, so now questions is this one, and then we have used these parentheses to access its attribute, that is title, user and votes. And now we have to type our all EJS tags here. Okay, so we know that whenever we want to display the value, we always use the tags like this, that is this one percentage equals to, then close this tag like this. Okay, so we are going to put them for all the values, and also like this. Okay, so we have set our values right here. Okay, so for this line, this is the JavaScript. This line is not going to return any value to us, so this is the plain JavaScript that is building the logic. So for these type of lines like this and like this, we have another tag. We just put this one and then percentage sign and then just close it. Okay, we don't have to put equal to sign here. We only put equal to sign whenever we want to display some value. Okay, when something is returning the value and we have to display that on our EJS file. Okay, so we don't want to display this logic on EJS file. Okay, so that's why we are going to put them in these two tags without equal to sign. Whenever we write any line of JavaScript, we always have to wrap it inside this tag. So I copy it again, paste it here, and just close it like this. Okay, so there may be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines. For each line we have to use these tags right here. I just repeat it. Whenever we want to display the values, we always use this equal to sign with them, with this tag. But whenever we are not going to display any value, that is simple logic like this one, then we only have to type this. We don't have to type the equal to sign here. I hope that you understand. Okay, let's save it and run this program and let's see what happens. So I simply type here node app.js. Okay, so we have to install the packages. So I simply type here npm init to initialize our application. Okay, then I simply type here npm I express and EJS and dash save. Okay. Now I simply type here node app.js. Oops, we have some error here. So path is not defined. Okay, so we have to type here const path equals to required path like this, and save it, and simply type here npm I path dash save. And after that I simply type here node app.js, and server started at port 3000. Okay, so let's see it. First of all, I go to the localhost 3000 / questions like this, and you can see that we have our all questions right here. What is Node.js asked by John, and the words are 10, then this question, and then this question. So we are displaying all these questions with the help of a loop in our EJS file like this. Okay, so whenever we go to the Stack Overflow official website, you can see that there are millions of questions there. Okay, so they use the loop to display all the questions. They retrieve the data from the database and display them in by using a loop on their homepage. Okay, so this is the basic logic to display all the ports, all the questions on the homepage. So I hope that you understand how we can use the loops in our EJS file. I just repeat this program once again. I have just created a routes with /questions. I have created an array of questions that have some objects like this one, and this one. Then I have passed questions to this index.ejs file, and after that I have just used a for each loop to display all my data in this file. Okay, so one more thing, that whenever we want to display the value, we use these tags with equal to sign, but whenever we don't want to display the value, for example for this, we don't have to display any value here. This is our logic, so we don't have to type any equal to sign here. Okay, so if you type here equal to sign, then it is going to give you an error. Okay, so I hope that you understand. So that's it for this video. In our next video, we are going to discuss about the conditional statements and how we can use the conditional statements. Okay, so I will see you in the next video. Welcome back to this course. In our previous video, we have discussed about that how we can use loops in EJS file, and now in this video we are going to discuss about that how we can use the conditional statements like if and if else in our EJS files. Okay, so I'm going to use my previous example here. You can see that I have just printed all the questions on the Chrome browser. If I just run this program once again, you can see that we have all our questions on this page. Okay, now I want to display all the questions that are asked by John. Okay, so I simply go to the EJS file and I'm going to type a conditional statement in here. So in for loop, I simply type here if question, I fetch the user, if I matches it to John, and I also convert it to the lowercase dot to lowercase equals to John, then I have to do this. Then I have to display data, otherwise I don't have to display any data. Control X here, Control V. Okay, so I just applied here if statement, if question user, this is going to fetch the user and convert it to the lowercase. If that is equal to John, then I want to display data, otherwise I don't want to display data. And then I'm simply going to again wrap our if statement with these tags. Okay, because these lines are not displaying any value, this is our just logic, that's why we are not going to use any equal to sign here like this, and also for this. Okay, so let's save it everything and run this program once again. If I go back and refresh the page, and now you can see that only the questions that are asked by John will appear here. If I add one more question here by John, I just copy it and paste it here and type here something like 15 John, and then what is JavaScript, like this. Save it, run this program once again, go back, refresh, and then you can see the two questions that are asked by the John. Okay, so now let's use the else statement here. So I simply type here else, and I type here h1 tag here, and I simply going to type here asked by other users. Okay, and I put them right under that. Control C, Control V, and then I simply close the bracket and add the tags here like this. Okay, so let's save it and run this program once again. If I go to Chrome browser and refresh it, now you can see that these questions are asked by John, and asked by other users we have this MongoDB and this expressjs. Okay, so these are the questions that are asked by the other users, and these are asked by the John. So in this way we can use our conditional statements in EJS file. Okay, you can see that we have used the if else statement here. I hope that you understand. Anyhow, if you feel any problem and understanding anything about EJS, you can definitely ask my question. I am always here to help you. So that's it for this video. I will see you in the next video. Welcome back to this course. So today in this video we are going to discuss about the post request. Okay, so before getting into the coding part, let's see what is basically the post request. Okay, so the post is a request method supported by HTTP. We know that this is the request method by HTTP, as we have already used the get method, which is also supported by HTTP. Okay, and post request method requests that a web server accept data enclosed in a body of request message, most likely for storing it. Okay, so what does this mean? When we will write our code after some time, then I will show you what does this body and request mean. In our previous videos, we have used the request.params, which is the parameters of the URL. Okay, so when we use our post request, we want to read some data, we use request.body. So that's why it is written that data is enclosed in a body of a request. Okay, so we also retrieve our data from this body of request, and most commonly the post request is used for storing data. Okay, and after that it is often used when uploading a file and when submitting a complete web form. Okay, so this is what we call the post request. Now let's write a code to have a better understanding that how basically the post request works. So first of all, let's create a new folder with the name post request. Okay, and after that, first of all, I'm going to create a new file in this folder, app.js. Okay, so let's type here const express equals to require. We are creating our app from scratch so that you have better understanding that how basically we write our code. So express and const app equals to the express. Okay, and after that we add app.listen on port 3000 and callback simple console.log and server started at port 3000. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to type here a route app.get. Now we are going to understand the post request by using the login form. Okay, so what we are going to do, we simply create a login form with that has a username field and a password field and a login button. When we click on that button, then we send a post request and match our username and password. Then if the username and password is correct, then we will redirect our application toward the dashboard. Okay, so this is a simple application. So simply I'm going to type here /login route. So this is the get route basically. Okay, and I type here request response. I'm going to rest.render the EJS file, that is login.ejs. I will remove EJS from here and add it at the top. Okay, so I simply type here app.set view engine to EJS. Okay, and also I set my view app dot set, and I type here views path dot join. We have discussed about this in our previous videos. So directory name and views. Always we have to write these lines as it is. These are middlewares, and we are going to discuss about middlewares when we will create our project, when we'll use middlewares, when we will create our own middlewares. Okay, so don't get confused with these right now. I'm going to explain it in detail when we will create our project. Okay, and also I just type here const path equals to require the path. Okay, now let's create this login.ejs file and design it a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to create a new folder with the name views, and in this folder I'm going to create a new file with the name login.ejs. Okay, so now I am going to use the bootstrap library here to design this screen. Okay, so let's quickly design it. First of all, the HTML tag, after that the head tag, and in here first of all I'm going to paste my bootstrap link. So I simply type here link and paste my link here. Okay, you can get it from internet. And after that I'm going to create the body tag. I hope that you know about all these things, HTML, basic HTML. Okay, and first of all I'm going to create a form here. So form and action will be slash login. After that we have the method, which is the post. Okay, so what does this mean, action and method? So this is a form tag. We are going to submit a form. So this is the URL on which URL I have to send my post request. So method is post because we are going to set the post request. So that's why I type here post. And this is the URL where I want to send the post request. This is called the action. Okay, and after that I'm going to simply design my form. In here first of all I'm going to create a div and add a class of bootstrap that is container. Okay, and give it width of 25%. Okay, and in here first of all I'm going to create a new row here, which is also class of bootstrap. So I simply type here class row, and to center my form I simply type here justify content center. Okay, so this is also bootstrap class, justify content center. And now I'm going to put my fields here. So before that I add one more div here that has a bootstrap class, that is form group, and I give it the column 12 and padding of 0. And in this I am going to create an input, type is equal to text, and the name will be username. Make sure that you give this input a name because we are going to get data from this form by using its name. Okay, so name is username, and I'm going to type here a class of bootstrap form control, and also I'm going to type here a placeholder and type here username. Okay, that's it. The first field is ready. Now if you don't know about the bootstrap, then I will highly recommend you to learn this CSS library. This is very easy to learn and give you many benefits. Okay, so now simply I'm going to copy this and paste it here, Control C, and paste it here, and just change it type to password and the name also to password, and placeholder also to password. Okay, and now I have to place a button here. Okay, so I am simply going to type here button type equals to submit, and I'm going to give it a class of bootstrap, class btn success to make this button green, and also I type here btn block to give it all the space, and column of 12. Okay, also type text here, login. That's it. Our form is now ready and designed. And before that, I also add a h1 tag here, h1. I type here login, simple, and give it a class of bootstrap, and type here text center and margin top of 5 and margin bottom of 3. Okay, that's it. Our login.ejs is now ready. Now let's go back to our app.js file, and simply first of all I'm going to save it and type here cd to the post request folder, and type here npm init to initialize our application, and then npm install express ejs path -- save. Okay, so all packages are installed successfully. Now I'm going to type here node app.js. So I simply go to my Chrome browser and simply type here localhost 3000/login and press enter, and you can see this beautiful form, but there is no any margin here. So I go back and see here. Okay, so we forgot to put a hyphen here, so this is form group like this. Okay, save it, and now if I just go back and reload it, okay, so this is our login form with two fields, username and password. Okay, so we have to type here username, and here we have to type the password, and when I click on the login, if the username and password is correct, then we are going to redirect to the /dashboard. Okay, so now let's get our post route. Go back, and I'm simply going to type here app.post, and I'm simply going to post to /login URL. Okay, and after that the callback request response. Okay, and in here first of all I have to get the username and password from those fields. Okay, so I simply type here let username equals to request.body. So this is the body which I am talking about in this slide. Okay, so I'm going to request from the body, which is the username. So this username is basically the name that we have right here. This one. Okay, so now let's do it for password. So password equals to request.body.password. Okay, so before moving on, I want to tell you that we also have to add a middleware for this body, because we have to parse the body. So for that we are going to use a package of npm that is called body parser. Okay, so I simply type here const body parser equals to require, which help us to parse the body and get the data from that. So I simply type here body parser. Okay, and let's install it first. Simply control C, npm I body -parser -- save, and it start installing. Okay, so now let's write the middleware for the body parser. So I simply type here app.use. We want to use the body parser, so I simply type here body parser dot URL encoded, and that pass an object here that says extended equals to true. Okay, now basically this line help us to parse our application. Okay, so especially forms. So with this line we can actually parse our form and get the data from that. Okay, so always we have to write this line as this is. You don't need to get confused with this line right now. Okay, so now let's move on and type here a simple if statement, because right now we have don't learn about database. So that's why we are going to give it hard-coded value. Okay, but when we will move on and use our database, definitely we are going to authenticate the user from our database. So right now I simply type here if username equals to John and password equals to pass. Then we are going to simply redirect. I'm going to use the redirect method that basically redirect to a URL. Okay, so I simply type here res.redirect to /dashboard. Okay, this is not the dashboard.ejs. This is the URL that is /dashboard. Okay, this is no rendered function. This is a redirect function that redirect to this URL. Okay, so that's it. I think so it will work right now. And okay, we forgot to create the dashboard route. So I simply type here app.get /dashboard and request response, and I simply type here res.render the dashboard.ejs. So dashboard, and let's create this view right now. So new file and dashboard.ejs. Okay, and here I'm simply going to type a single h1 statement that says welcome to dashboard. Okay, that's it. And now I think this program is going to work fine for us. So let's save it and give it a shot. So simply type here node app.js. Okay, so I go back and reload this form. I simply type here John and password P8SS. Okay, and click on login from here like this, and that's it. Welcome to the dashboard. You can see the URL here. We are redirected to /dashboard. Okay, so in this way we can send the post request using this form. So this is a very simple example. When we will move towards our projects, we are definitely going to store our old data in the database, and then we'll authenticate our user from the database using these post requests. Okay, so I hope that you understand what we have done in this video. I just move back and tell you about the post request. So this is the post request. It is just like this route, but we have just used this post here. Okay, so simply we have used the app.post to this URL, which is /login, and then pass a callback here. And in this callback, first of all, we fetch our username and password by using the request.body.username and password, and then we simply compare that and redirect to /dashboard. Okay, so I hope that you understand. Anyhow, if you feel any problem understanding anything about post requests, definitely you can ask my question. I am always here to help you. So that's it for this video. I will see you in the next video.